21st Platoon. Hard drop. Secure our landing zone.
Understood.
Over the target in 5.
Hang on to your helmet.
Alright, Grunts, we are back on From ODST to Helldiver, and today's video we are going to cover the throwable weapons in the game. Again, I'm going to check out the armory over here. You can see the map is right there. You normally spawn over there. This right here is the armory. And we're going to go ahead and check out the throwables. Starting with the standard throwables section, you guys are most likely going to start the game either not having access to grenades at all or only having access to the G6 frag. I'm fairly sure you'll have no grenades at start and you'll have to unlock these as you go through the initial war bond, but that's okay. This is the, I want to say, all-around standard grenade. I don't know that a lot of people are actually using the frag, but it is very good for a lot of reasons. It is medium armor penetration, it's explosive, it does a massive 500 damage. The penetration is a 3, the outer radius is 10, and the fuse time is 2.4 seconds. The benefits of having the frag grenade compared to the others is that there's a large capacity. So you can have a total of 5 frag grenades unless you have the armor passive that gives you a +2 to the number of grenades you have. This can put you at 7 grenades. Now, most of the time that I've been playing, and I've used frag grenades, I have not really used them on groups of enemies. I usually fire into those with my primary and use the frag grenade to close objectives or reach an enemy that's hiding behind cover. So very good uses, and going around closing bug holes or factories or the warp ships for the Illuminate, the frag grenade is the best bang for the buck because it only takes 1 and you can have 5 of them. They're very good grenades. They act just like a regular frag grenade from Halo. Now next up we have the dynamite, which is a very interesting piece of explosive. It is medium armor penetration, it has the explosive property, and you can see it has more damage than the frag grenade. Penetration's 3, it has a bigger radius, and the fuse time, it says, is 5 seconds. But in practicality, the dynamite is pretty unique amongst throwables, as it actually has 3 alt fire modes, which change the fuse time for the dynamite. So you can do 5 seconds, you can do 10, and you can do 15 seconds. Now, for the life of me, I have not figured out a good practical use for the 15-second timer. I usually stick with a 5, but this dynamite is highly explosive, very high damage, and very good at blowing stuff up. But you do get less of them than the frag grenade. Still, dynamite is pretty cool. Highly recommend you guys check it out and try it out. Next up, we have the G12 high explosive, and you may notice a slight difference here between the two. This is heavy armor penetrating instead of medium, still explosive. It has an 800 damage. The penetration is set to 4, which is a heavy armor pen. An outer radius of 7 compared to 10, so it's more targeted, and it has a fuse time of 3.5 seconds. Now, due to this, you get less high explosive grenades when you start the game. I forget the exact number, but it is not 5 if I remember correctly. I haven't used the high explosive in quite some time, but this is very good about dealing with heavily armored enemies. but it is certainly not the best. I can definitely think of some better options if your main concern is things like chargers and whatnot, but we will get to those a little bit later. Still, I do think this is a bit of an improvement upon the frag grenade if you are starting out and you're trying to deal with some of those pesky enemies out there and groups of larger enemies. This can certainly help. Moving along, we have this incendiary grenade here. It is incendiary and explosive. The damage is 300 on the initial hit. It then lights the area on fire, and anything on fire is going to take a bunch of damage. It has penetration of 3, so I think that's medium armor. It has an outer radius of 7 and a fuse time of 2.9 seconds. This is a fairly good grenade, and it just recently got a buff where fire will last on the ground for quite a bit longer. I think it lasts now either like 10 or 15 seconds, which is a bit of an obscene amount. And keep in mind, this can also block your escape from other things if you place this incorrectly, so just keep that in mind. The fire will be there for a while. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next section of special throwables. A lot of these are going to be just the same as standard, but we'll get into that. They are a bit unique, some of them especially. First one up is the arc grenade, and when you... Okay, first let's go to stats. It's explosive and it's arc. The damage is 100, which is notably less than most of the things you've seen here. It's got penetration of 4 and it has an outer radius of 10. The unique thing about the arc grenade is when you throw it, after it lands, it starts emitting electric shocks and will continue to periodically shoot lightning out of it as it bounces around after that. It's a very cool grenade, and of note as well, lightning that hits an enemy will oftentimes arc from that enemy to another enemy, so the arc grenade is quite devastating against hordes of enemies. This is a very good grenade, despite it saying that it only does 100 damage. Now, this may not absolutely kill everything you throw at it, but part of the lightning deal is that they get stunned as well. So this can be very, very good, especially against hordes of enemies. Next up, we have the G16 Impact Grenade. And if we compare that to its frag grenade counterpart, it only has slightly less damage. It has the heavy armor penetration and explosive. Penetration's 4, outer radius is 7. And you'll notice this does not have a fuse time. So the reason it doesn't have a fuse time is because it will blow up the second it makes contact with anything. For Halo fans out there, imagine this as a plasma grenade that doesn't bother sticking to someone and waiting a while. It just immediately blows up. Next up, we have the Incendiary Impact, and you would be surprised, but it's incendiary, explosive, and it blows up when it touches an enemy. The damage is less than the normal incendiary grenade at 150, but once it blows up, everything's on fire and they take a bunch of damage over time. Penetration is 3 and the radius is 7. This is a pretty decent grenade, especially if you're trying to close off a section or some kind of route and you just need it to go off immediately. Next up here, we have the G23 Stun Grenade. Traits are explosive, and the stats is that it does no damage. It has 6 penetration, an outer radius of 10, and a fuse time of 1.8 seconds. Now, why in the world would you pick a special throwable weapon that does no damage? Well, the answer is that the stun lasts for a significant amount of time. I think it's 2 or 3 seconds. And if a charger is coming at you and you catch them with this stun grenade, they will stand in place, allowing you to maneuver behind them and blow up their exposed squishy bits. This is a fantastic grenade, despite not doing damage. Don't underestimate this thing. Definitely try it out. Give it a test run. It might not be the grenade for you. You might be looking for something else, especially since this, I think, cannot close bug holes or factories or warp ships. So keep that all in mind with this as a caveat, but it is very good at stunning things. It can be very useful to swap to your support weapon afterwards to take out big things after you've locked them in place. So next up is the G4 gas grenade, and my personal favorite grenade. The weapon traits are caustic, meaning gas, and explosive. It has 3 damage on initial explosion, it has 6 penetration, so it affects everything, has an outer radius of 7 and a fuse time of 2.9 seconds. Now, why is this my favorite grenade? Well, it recently got an update where it's able to now close bug holes, factories, and warp ships for the Illuminate, so it functions very similar to the other grenades. And it leaves a giant field of gas, similar to how the incendiary grenades leave fire on the ground. A giant gas cloud is there. Enemies will take damage inside the gas, but the gas is much more effective than just that. Gas also blinds enemies and confuses them, and oftentimes, if there's a large enough group, they will begin killing each other for you while they are blinded and confused. And while this cloud is sitting there for 3 or 4, maybe 5 seconds, you're able to shoot into it absolutely crazily, murdering everything in your path. If there's like a bug breach or a bot drop, you can throw this grenade down in the area and it pretty much clears the entire fight by itself, with maybe the assistance of some of your primary weapons ammo. These grenades are fantastic. I use them all the time. This is my go-to grenade. Highly, highly recommend it. Give it a test run. Don't walk into the gas. Alright, next up is the G50 Seeker. It is a fairly interesting grenade. It does some very neat things. It's a medium armor penetrating grenade. Damage is 400, penetration is 4, and it has an outer radius of 7. This great grenade delivery drone follows the user until it detects an enemy nearby, and then flies towards it and explodes on impact. It also has a limited battery life, which means they will fall if you don't find an enemy soon enough. But essentially, this makes you kind of look like some wannabe knockoff Pokemon Psychic type Pokemon trainer with a bunch of grenades flying around you until an enemy shows up and you start fleeing them all at them. Think Avatar Last Airbender with the rocks. It's a pretty neat, pretty interesting thing, and it detonates on impact against an enemy. You also can just throw this grenade at an enemy and it will automatically seek them out pretty conveniently. It's a very good grenade, very cool, very interesting, definitely different than the other grenades here. Alright, next up we have the G3 Smoke. It has the explosive trait. It does 0 damage, 0 penetration, has a 5-foot outer radius, and the fuse time is 2.4 seconds. So what exactly is the smoke grenade good for if it doesn't do any damage? It provides cover for you and or your teammates. You can completely escape encounters altogether. You can hold an objective inside of the smoke. while the enemies are unable to see you and usually unable to attack you at that point. It does make a lot of situations trivial. It enables stealthing mechanics, and you get a decent amount of smoke grenades as well. I think it's 4 or 5, though I could be wrong about it. This is a very interesting grenade, very good for some particular builds. Usually I like to have some firepower as my throwable though. But if you're ever trying to do a stealth mission or trying to take on the hardest difficulty solo, the smoke grenade could be your answer. Alright, next up is certainly the most powerful of the throwables, I'm fairly sure. This is an anti-tank sticky grenade. This is the plasma pistol, except even a little bit better. Damage is 2,000, penetration is 7, so it eats through anything. It has an outer radius of 3. The principle of the thermite is the same as that of a plasma pistol. You throw it at something and it sticks to it, most of the time. On occasion, it will bounce off of something first and then stick to the next thing it touches, which can be quite annoying. But once it sticks to something, it immediately begins to start burning and will do a continuous stream of damage until it gets to its detonation, at which point it blows up and does that ridiculous 2,000 damage. Now it does take some amount of time before it blows up, so you may find that you stick a charger and he still manages to run over you. So just bear that all in mind. It's not an instantaneous kill, but it is a guaranteed kill if it sticks. The thermite is very good. I think it's also very limited. You only have maybe 2 or 3 when you spawn in as full capacity. So it's very limited, but it is very, very good. Next up, we have the Urchin, which is also a sticky grenade. It has sticky and stun. It has a damage of 0, a penetration of 6, and an outer radius of 4. So this device attaches to a target and sends out electrical pulses, keeping them absolutely stunned. So think sticky grenade, but stun locked. The Urchin's pretty cool. I do think that it actually does some amount of electric damage, but I could be wrong about that. I myself haven't used the Urchin, but I have seen several people use it. I don't know if it actually does damage or not. I don't think that it does, looking at the damage here, but it might. I do know that it has a bunch of spikes and sticks to stuff and stuns them. I've seen that firsthand. So it's a pretty interesting weapon, pretty good. Alright, next up, a fan favorite of mine that is also not so good is the throwing knife. And the only reason I say that it's not so good is just because it's compared to so many other good options. This thing has medium armor penetration, has a damage of 250, which is nothing to scoff about, and a penetration of 3, meaning medium armor penetration. But what you're not seeing here is the ammo capacity and something else about it. So first off, instead of having 3, 4, or 5 of these, you instead start the game with 20. That's right, 20 throwing knives. Additionally, when you throw this at an enemy, it is silent, doesn't make any noise, it's very undetectable. This is a very good weapon for stealthing, and most enemies, if you hit them in the head, it is a one-hit kill. Most small enemies. Some medium-sized enemies can be killed in one shot if you hit them in the right spot, but most of the time with a medium you gotta hit them twice. This does have a very quick fire rate if you're trying to chain them all together, so you can actually throw 2 knives in quick succession and take something out before it can alert its buddies. So this is very good for stealth mechanics, but it also is competing with the smoke grenade. So it's very hard to decide if this is a great weapon or not. I also can't confirm that the armor perk that boosts melee attack damage affects the throwing knife at all, but man, wouldn't it be awesome if it did. I do really like the throwing knife. I do think it needs a bit of a buff, though. If this was heavy armor penetration, it would probably seal the deal for me, signifying it is a great weapon, but for now, it is just medium penetration at 250 damage. It's still pretty good, though. I recommend you guys try it out. I do recognize that probably a lot of you will not actually like the throwing knife, though you'll probably like the concept of it. But give it a shot, maybe you'll like it. And then, last but certainly not least, we have the Incendiary Explosive Pyrotech Grenade. Traits are Incendiary and Explosive. Just said. Damage is 50, penetration is 3, meaning medium armor. It has an outer radius of 5. It's a repurposed firework. It will spark flames in all directions and cause some explosives. It's pretty cool. It is incendiary, so keep that all in mind. It will light an area on fire, but it goes off for a while. It's very loud and distracting. It's a very good grenade. I do like this grenade quite a bit. And I think that's all I got for it. Really, it's kind of a flamethrowery grenade. Kind of cool. Alright guys, that is all that I have for you right now, covering the throwables. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff and have some stuff to look forward to. Currently, I do have all of the throwables unlocked that are available. Once you guys get in the game, I think that's going to pretty much be the same unless there's a new war bond that comes out between now and the 26th.
To an automaton. After all, you wouldn't grant rights to a dishwasher.
Right. That joke was against women. Anyways, I'm going to catch you guys next time. See you then. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of From ODST to Helldiver. If you found any of the information in this video useful, please go ahead and leave a like. And if you have any questions about anything, you want some clarification, or maybe you want to sync up in-game, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and maybe I can add you. We can get a couple of games together. And if you want to see a couple of more videos like this, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? That would really, really be appreciated. And hopefully this video gets you guys a little bit more prepared for when this inevitably drops on the Xbox. I hope everybody watching sees so many similarities between the Helldivers and the ODSTs. They're pretty much doing all of the same things. And I do find this game is, without a doubt, one of the greatest Halo games in the last 10 years. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.